And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here to Talladega Superspeedway as we get ready for some good old truck racing here for race number 4 of Season 8 of the NNSCRA Oreo Truck Series. We're getting ready here for the run into the Fred Super Dollar 250 at Talladega Superspeedway, and it's sure to be a wild one. We had a rather interesting Last of Us Late Series race here yesterday. No caution flags whatsoever. They did have to do pit stops except 2 drivers, which ended up being the race winner Joey Van Hoot and second place finisher Skyla Johnson, were able to stretch it the full 19 laps on 1 tank of fuel. Today, though, we have 29 laps on tap, which means that no driver, unless they've got some kind of hacks in their truck, are going to be able to make this entire event on 1 tank of fuel. We will see at least every single driver come down at least one time onto pit road, and maybe, just maybe, a second time near the closing stages of the race. But as we're getting ready for today's event, Luke Walker sits on the pole position. Walker, a former Mobile One Cup Series champion, coming in here in a return to the Oreo Truck Series. He is currently in his first 3 starts of the season, 21st in points. He starts on the pole looking for his first win. Alongside of him is going to be Jessica Shelton in the 9 out of Retro Enterprises. Shelton comes in 19th in the point stands. It's been actually a pretty good season so far for Retro Enterprises, even though Shelton did miss making the main event at the Midsummer Classic at Eldora. She is 19th in points, and her rookie teammate Nick Smith is 7th in the points. So, for the most part, the 94 and 9 team doing pretty well here in Season 8. Rounding out the top 3 is going to be the number 61 of Zach Hamlin. Hamlin's been having a rather struggling start to the season, 29th in the point standings, but then again, could be a lot worse and has a good qualifying position for today's race at Talladega. And alongside of him is going to be Bob Jones in the 11. Bob Jones comes into this race 4th in the standings. Jones trying to continue on what's been a very successful series for him. He's ended up having a couple of wins here in Truck Series competition, and he'll look to try and do the same here today for the first time in Season 8. Time to get these cars rolling off, though. We got an interesting points battle coming into today's race. Cody Lamas is actually the points leader with his win last week at Atlanta by 1 point over the rookie points leader, Matthew Dallio. 3rd in points is another rookie, and that's Alex Pedro. Bob Jones, we said he's 4th, and our winner at Daytona, Dylan Poteet, is 5th in the point stands. The rest of the top 10, comprising of 3 other rookies, Drew Austin, Nick Smith, they're 6th and 7th. Chris Washer is 8th. Matthew Daly is 9th, and Caleb Farrell completes the top 10. We have 5 rookies inside the top 10 coming into today's event. It's interesting, too, you take a look at our 3 different race winners, Dylan Poteet at Daytona, Kyle Matthews at Eldora, and Cody Lamas at Atlanta, and all 3 of them are kind of in different situations here based on what's happened during the course of the season. Cody Lamas, 3 starts, 1 win, and he's right now the current points leader. Dylan Poteet, only 2 starts because he did not make the main event at Eldora, but he won the Daytona race. He's 5th in the point stands. And then Kyle Matthews, who ended up winning the Eldora event, did not finish well in our last race at Atlanta. He finds himself in the 17th position in the point standings. So, you know, any person in any portion of this field, anywhere in the points, we've had the old cliche, it caters to the underdog. It could be a driver who's struggling this season, who could go to victory lane here today at Talladega. That's one thing I love about restrictor plate tracks. It's our second restrictor plate track here of the season here in Truck Series competition. Be sure to tune in for the rest of the weekend, too. We got Mobile and Stickers Cup Series action coming here at Talladega Superspeedway, and it seems like everybody wants to tune into these races because you never ever know who's going to win until they come down to the checkered flag. So Luke Walker, he already has a Mobile Cup Series championship under his belt that he earned back in last season, Season 7. And he's trying to do the same thing here in Truck Series competition, but he's got to get a win here. That would be a key factor into him possibly making the Truck Series chase for the championship. As he and Jessica Shelton are going to lead us down. Take a look at who's starting off in 5th place in the inside line of row 3, the points leader, Cody Lamas. We'll see if maybe he can go for back-to-back victories here in Truck Series competition. Green flag is out. We're underway. Just a little less than 30 laps here in today's event, and Jessica Shelton got a good jump on the high side. Question is, can she clear Luke Walker? Yes, she can. What a power move by the 9. Shelton to the point after starting on the outside of the front row, and they're immediately going 4 wide there. Now they're going to settle it out to 3 wide as James McLeod's able to find a line in between Dylan Thoreau and Cody Lamas. But Bob Jones was the beneficiary of getting kicked to the extreme high side that time. Not sure if that's exactly the right term, though, beneficiary. Victim may be more of a better term, as now Luke Walker will get to the inside of Jessica Shelton, and now he will move by on the low line. Jessica Shelton was trying to lead that first lap. She may still be able to if she can get enough drafting help up there. Nope, the inside line started to kick in now, and Luke Walker will get the advantage. He will lead the first lap of the race, and here comes Michael Norman to the bottom. If ever a driver needed a good run here early on this season, it would be Michael Norman, and we know his numbers here at Talladega Superspeedway in Daytona. He's very good at restrictor plate tracks, and right now, running up the front in that number 3 machine, he comes into this race 40th in the point standings. As a matter of fact, if you look at our point standings, there are a lot of big names outside the top 30, including Sean Galligan, John Cittadino, Tanner Sullivan, who was a former chaser last season, also Trent Dunham, a former Truck Series champion, Dylan Young's down there, Michael Norman's down there, and another former Truck Series champion, and Jake Rogers runs 41st in points. And right there is the guy that comes in 42nd in points, Dylan Thoreau, dead last in the standings, and he's just about to get passed for the lead by Chris Washer. And Washer may end up getting a challenge. 4 wide for the lead. Henry Sanford coming to the bottom. And Henry Sanford, if you'll recall, the last time out of restricted plate track at Daytona was the first driver to encounter problems. If I'm not mistaken, I think he actually was the first DNF driver as well. So this is certainly much different for him than Daytona was. And Dylan Young is apparently either off the pace or he's lost the draft, or else it may be strategy, because he has gone way, way back. And now Henry Sanford gets moved way up high. Now John Cittadino leading. There's a wreck. The big one is happening. That's not Cody Lamas. I'm sorry, that's Zach Buchanan. He spun right in front of the field. I also saw another car shoot down to the inside. That was Chris Dollerton at the stripe. I think Daniel Voiles is the leader. And that is our first caution of the day. And they're still wrecking. Levi McIntyre's just gotten wrecked, along with Henry Sanford. And Trent Dunham got a big chunk of Henry Sanford. Dylan Poteet's going to get through it. Brandon Crasta. Alex Pedro gets through. Oh, man. There's what's left of Trent Dunham's car. And the caution flag is out. A wreck and then a follow-up wreck. There's Sanford to pit road. Joe Davis has been collected in this. James McLeod is in it. There's Trent Dunham and Levi McIntyre. We saw how they got involved. Apparently running away at the back did not help Dylan Young at all. He's wrecked. Drew Austin, 6th in standings, he's involved. And Michael Norman, a terrible season continues for that 3 truck. We just saw him up at the front. That may have actually started with him. And there's Matthew Daly, 9th in the point standings, collected in this. Kyle Matthews, our winner from Eldora, he's involved. Matthew Dalio, 2nd in points, he's collected. So is Zach Buchanan. Stephen Pollard III has got damaged. So is Zach Hamlin. 10th in points, Caleb Farrell has been collected. Justin Salampus may have some damage. I know I saw Chris Dollerton go down to the bottom with some damage, and also Nick Smith got damaged. Tanner Sullivan's involved, and there also is George Roque in the 03 with damage, and Alex Pedro, 3rd in points, is collected. I think Brandon Crasta may have some damage as well. Boy, not many drivers were able to get away from this one, as pit stops are going to go on here on lap 4 of 29. Daniel Voiles was able to just barely beat out LJ Mills and John Cittadino at the line to be the leader. Let's see if his team can get him off pit road quickly enough. Cittadino's service is complete. Now too is Daniel Voiles. Kind of boxed Chris Dollerton out of his pit stall there for a moment. Now is able to get over into the merge lane. So too was Cittadino. And it looks like Daniel Voiles will be the leader coming off of pit road over LJ Mills. And I think John Cittadino will come out possibly in 3rd. It'll be a close drag race between him, Eric and Rage, and Jake Rogers. It looks like Daniel Voiles will be the leader under our restart, so let's head back and see what this restart is going to be happening because of, as we had quite a wreck coming out of turn number 4. Well, they were 4x4x4, many, many rows deep. And watch and see where the initial contact is going to begin. It may happen. Yeah, I think it was Carson Gum. Got up into Dollerton. Dollerton then clipped Zach Buchanan and also hit Stephen Pollard III. I think Cody Hagan was boxed up there. And then Nick Smith, I believe, it's either Nick Smith or Jessica Shelton, turns the 83 of Chris Dollerton. Matthew Daly went down and hit the inside wall there quite hard. And then there's Steven spinning right in front of the pole sitter Luke Walker. Look at Dylan Young. slicing his way through, but then he's going to go up and slam the outside retaining wall. George Roque's able to get through this, so is Dylan Poteet. And Michael Norman, I think, got clipped by Tanner Sullivan. His car slides up, and I think he's going to get the rear. No, he doesn't get the rear of Zach Buchanan. So wait a minute, did something else happen? Was there something I missed? There's where Kyle Matthews gets involved. He hits the Zach Buchanan machine. But how are all these other drivers so badly wrecked? Oh, maybe this is why. Caleb Farrell. Now, what happens to him? Okay, he and Joe Davis had both gone down to the bottom to avoid the wreck. And when Davis came back up, Caleb Farrell was there. It's a couple of rookies getting together. Davis going to go hard into the safer barrier, head on, actually. The left rear of Caleb Farrell's machine is what makes contact with the wall. And then there's where I believe that's Drew Austin gets a contact with Joe Davis. And then I think all this other stuff's going to happen further up here. There's where Nick Smith gets a piece of it. I believe that's Nick. No, that's Jessica Shelton, actually. Alex Pedro and Brandon Krasta and Andreas Allen collected in this. And I don't believe it's over. Nope, that is Nick Smith, by the way. I apologize. That is the 94. For some reason, up here from the helicopter view, it looked like just a 9 on the hood. There's Matthew Daly getting yet another piece of it. And where is Michael Norman? Oh, Norman already had hit somebody. Now, who did he hit? Oh, he hit the 4 of Joe Davis. Right there. Wow. That just ripped the whole front, the whole hood off that 3 machine. Man. And then let's look further up here. We know that Levi McIntyre and Henry Sanford got together, and this was another 4-wide situation, and it's contact between Bob Jones and Levi McIntyre, who really were giving each other no room there in that middle groove. Jones up into McIntyre. I think Bob Fergus going to get clipped just a tiny bit there in the 07, but he hangs on to it, and Henry Sanford was kind of boxed in. He had nowhere to go, and so he's going to get some damage out of that, and then he's going to get a lot more damage, as you'll see in just a minute, because you got Trent Dunham right here. He's going to come down here, and obviously his spotters told him there's a wreck. You see him pulled down there as far as he can beneath the double yellow line, but Sanford's coming down and right into the path of the Sega Chevy Silverado. So a number of drivers who have just been having really struggling seasons, not finding any luck here at Talladega. Dylan Young, Michael Norman, Trent Dunham, Henry Sanford, Tanner Sullivan, all collected in this. Drivers who really needed good runs here at Talladega, not going to get them. Man, a lot of hard licks there taken as well. You had to know something was going to happen sooner or later. We were just hoping it was going to be more later than sooner, but apparently Talladega strikes when you least expect it, and it just did. Let's head back now for the green flag to get this race back underway. So we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. Daniel Voiles is the leader. Voiles comes into this race currently sitting in the 34th position in points, so at least one driver who really needs a good run is getting it at the current moment. Second place is going to be LJ Mills. Jake Rogers lines up third. Eric Enrage is now up to fourth with John Cittadino in fifth. Bob Fergus sixth, seventh Dylan Thoreau. Bob Jones is in eighth, ninth is Chris Washer, and Sean Galligan completes the top 10. Carson Gum is in 11th, 12th place Cody Lamas, Dylan Poteet 13th, 14th John Trollston. Luke Walker, the pole sitter's in 15th. Jessica Shelton, who started on the outside of the front row with him, is right behind him in 16th. 17th is Mason Wood. George Roque runs 18th. 19th place Tanner Sullivan. Cody Hagan in 20th. Charles Jackson 21st. 22nd Caleb Farrell. Justin Talampas 23rd. 24th is Chris Dollerton with Brandon Krasta in 25th. Matthew Daly 26th. 27th Zach Hamlin. Alex Pedro in 28th. And Nick Smith is the last driver on the racetrack and on the lead lap in the 29th position. That means that a total of 13 drivers have retired from this race, and as they come down to get the green, we'll update you on who those drivers are. Levi McIntyre, Henry Sanford, Trent Dunham, Matthew Dalio, Kyle Matthews, Zach Buchanan, Stephen Pollard III, Joe Davis, James McLeod, Drew Austin, Dylan Young, Michael Norman, and Andreas Allen will not finish out today's race at Talladega. Green flag back out. Daniel Voiles, LJ Mills, a couple of rookies. Jake Rogers, a former Truck Series champion, are the top three. And LJ Mills tried to get a jump there on Daniel Voiles, but nobody went with him. Everybody going to freight train him on the low line. Same deal happened right there for John Cittadino in the 20. Tell you right now, it would be a big shot in the arm for Jake Rogers if he can win here, because it's been a long, long time since the Season 2 Truck Series champion has actually won a Truck Series race. And his season, where he's running in points first in the standings, doesn't exactly say much for good finishes this season either. A lot of names up here, though, that you want to keep an eye on. You got Charles Jackson up in this mix, Bob Jones, and Dylan Poteet. I mean, he's 1 for 1 so far this season in Truck Series restrictor plate starts. And keep in mind, too, Dylan Poteet, you think back to Talladega, I cannot get out of my mind that one race back in Season 6, where Dylan Poteet won the race at Talladega Superspeedway with his teammate James Silverfox pushing him the final 2 laps and not making a move on it. Poteet does not have Silverfox in this field to help him this time. As a matter of fact, he's kind of in a bit of a pickle as far as teammates. The only driver that he can possibly work with as a teammate is Charles Jackson, because his other 2 teammates, the 30 of James McLeod and the 4 of Joe Davis, have retired from the race. And one driver just hit the pit road, and that was Bob Fergus. Now, I'm a little confused as to why Bob Fergus is hitting pit road so soon, after these drivers all made pit stops under that caution flag. And it looks like it could possibly be just a gas and go strategy here for the 07. No, he's spending a little bit more time on pit road. They may have had to just fix something on that car. I don't know what it was, but that was a rather extended stay there for the 07. That was not your typical gas and go stop. You talk about the Turner cars up here. How about the Hendrick cars? You got Daniel Voiles, you got Chris Washer, Luke Walker is up here, and I thought I saw the 48 of Cody Lamas up here at the front a moment ago, and I think Cody Hagan is still in this race? Yeah, he's still in it. So 5 of the Hendrick cars are still in this event. And you talk about drivers who really need a good run. How about Chris Dallerton? Right now, 13th in points. He could use a win here at Talladega. A couple other drivers up here. Chris Washer, as I mentioned, Charles Jackson. They are 8th and 11th in points. Carson Gum up here as well, 14th in points. The one that actually triggered the big wreck here out of 4 as Washer goes to the point. And I thought I heard, yeah, they're going to catch up on that Bob Fergus machine. So apparently, whatever his strategy is, it's going to catch him a lap down regardless. As Dylan Thoreau, how would it be for the guy who's dead last in points to win here at Talladega? That would be so true to what Talladega does almost every single time we come here. As Bob Jones, Eric Enrage, John Cittadino get the inside line going, and Bob Jones will go to the point. Now this is going to be interesting to see how these drivers are going to be able to maneuver their way around the 07, who is, I believe, up to speed, but with the fact that he's not in a big pack, they're going to catch him as if he's about 10 miles an hour slower. And here they come. Bob Jones jumps up to the high side. Cittadino comes right up to the back bumper of the 07. They may actually have to split him 3 wide, coming here out of 4, and that's exactly what they're going to do. 2 separate lines on the inside and outside. Jake Rogers, Chris Washer, and Luke Walker, although going to get caught up behind the 07, who I believe will be able to get up to speed here in this pack. And now a couple other drivers just pitted. Teammates Cody Lamas and Cody Hagan just pitted. Now, I don't know what kind of strategy this is, but whatever it is, apparently, a couple of drivers are utilizing it, because now, last week's winner, Cody Lamas, the points leader Cody Lamas, actually just came to pit road with Cody Hagan. So let's see if any of these other drivers are actually going to dive for pit road on this lap and try to utilize some possible fuel strategy that could be coming out here in midway through this race. Yeah, here they come. Cittadino's coming, Jessica Shelton, Trollston, Galligan, Rogers, Washer, Walker, Poteet, Sullivan, Talampas, they're all coming. So apparently, I don't know what the case is, but they're having to make some pit stops here, again. And the leader, as a result, is going to be Bob Jones. Chris Dallerton moves into 2nd. 3rd place now is Carson Gum. And then it's Daniel Voiles, Mason Wood, Eric Enrage, Dylan Thoreau, and I couldn't tell who that other driver was. I believe that might actually be Charles Jackson. That completes the top 8. So you got to think Bob Jones is going to come to pit road maybe this time. with fellow Toyotas Chris Dollerton and Carson Gum. Let's see, yeah, they're coming to pit road here on lap 14. Voiles and Rage, Mason Wood and Jackson are coming, but it looks like Dylan Thoreau is going to stay out to lead a lap here. Interesting that the 21 wanting to stay out by himself, because more than likely you want to come to pit road with a bunch of others so that we are able to put together a good 5-6 truck draft once you leave pit road. And oh, I think Dylan Thoreau may have stretched it too far. He's out of fuel. Oh, and look out, he almost got rear-ended there by Dylan Pote. He's got to get out of the way of these guys leaving pit road, and he got in front of Talampas. Talampas is spinning right in front of everybody. Everybody's going to avoid him. Poteet's held up behind Thoreau. He's got to not be too happy. What is Thoreau doing? He's still blocking Poteet. And now Poteet's finally going to get by him. I think Poteet's going to have some words for that rookie at the end of this race. But did that spin by Talampas bring out a caution? If so, it screws everything up. And I don't see the pace truck. I think the pace truck's out. Wait, where is he, though? Is there a caution or is there not? There was a spin on the back straightaway. No, there isn't. There is no caution. So now I got to play a little bit of guess who and find out who the leader is. I'm wondering if it could possibly be this battle right here. Bob Jones, Jessica Shelton, John Cittadino. I think this could actually be the potential battle for the lead. I may be incorrect, though, but this kind of looks like it could be. It's a number of the drivers who were running up at the front before they started making pit stops. There could be a couple of drivers up ahead, though. We'll see where Shelton crosses the stripe this time with John Cittadino. And she's going to cross in the lead, yes. And how about Bob Fergus? Came to pit road all by his lonesome a couple of laps ago, and now he has cycled around to the 3rd position and in this lead pack. So that caution, if it had come out, that would have really helped out Bob Fergus. But man, talk about some strategy. He just utilized it, and he is up inside the top 10 now. As right now we have a total of 9 drivers up in this lead pack. Bob Jones, John Trollston, Jake Rogers, Cittadino, Shelton, Bob Fergus, Chris Washer, Sean Galligan, and Chris Dollerton. Let's find out where, after all that mayhem with the Dylan Thoreau machine, where is Dylan Poteet now? He's all by his lonesome in 26th place. Poteet, I think, is definitely going to have some words for Dylan Thoreau before this is all said and done. Man, that was a tough break for Poteet. A routine pit stop, tries coming off pit road, and what happens? He ends up getting basically screwed by a driver who ran out of fuel. And Justin Talampas, I don't think, has got to be too happy either, because he ran into the back of Thoreau after he had finished up a pit stop, and now he's all the way back in the 27th position, as John Trollston is right now the leader. Rogers into second. It's right now, as I said, a 9-car pack here at the front of the field. And then 10th place is in a second big pack. Daniel Voiles in the 10th position right now, but in that pack as well include Jackson, Lamas, and Rage, Carson Gum, Mason Wood, George Roque, Tanner Sullivan, and there is Dylan Thoreau, who I believe is 1 lap down. He's in this pack, but he is a lap down to the leaders. You can see the damage to the rear of his Motorcraft Ford. That's after he got punted from behind by Justin Talampas. Luke Walker all the way back in 17th place right now, with LJ Mills 18th, Crasta I should say, in 19th. Caleb Farrell just took 20th away from Cody Hagan. Hagan back in 21st. Pedro's back 22nd. Matthew Dowley 23rd. Zach Hamlin 24th. Dylan Poteet is now 25th, but still all by his lonesome, as Bob Fergus had to hit the pit road again. And with him pitting, these drivers, again, if it was the fact that he was running low on fuel, that means these drivers are going to have to make green flag pit stops once again within the next 3 to 5 laps. We're hitting the stripe with 10 to go next time by. Right here, you may be looking at the players that are going to settle it out for this win, but we already saw a pit strategy already screw up a number of drivers. Will we see it here again before this race is over? Shelton continues to lead. Washer is the driver drafting her right now, as they're going to come up on the slower car of Justin Talampas. And Galligan thinks about splitting it 3 wide. That may not be such a good decision, and it wasn't, because he pulled up right to the back bumper of that 17 that killed all of his momentum. Shelton now with Bob Fergus going to make that. Bob Jones going to go on to the lead. And now they're coming up here on Shelton's teammate, Nick Smith. Nick Smith playing a drafting help for the 9 machine. And now he's going to move up and try and maybe help Jessica Shelton get by Bob Jones, but I think he's more of a hindrance than a help. And now Shelton is caught behind her teammate, Nick Smith. Move Bob Jones to the lead. Not for long. Here comes Chris Dollerton and John Cittadino. And Nick Smith appears to be up to speed, but he was not completely up to speed with this pack of trucks, and it just really hindered his teammate Jessica Shelton, who now is going to fall to the tail end of this pack. 4-truck breakaway at the front of the field. Bob Jones, Chris Dollerton, John Cittadino, and Jake Rogers. And the caution flag's out. This changes everything up. Everything has just changed up. And that's going to really hurt Bob Fergus, who is now going to, I believe, get caught a lap down. He was relying on everybody having to come down and make green flag pit stops again. It's not going to happen. That's going to really hurt him, and maybe also a couple of other drivers who may have tried utilizing some early pit strategy. So Bob Jones leads under our second caution of the day. I do not see any skid marks here on the back straightaway. I thought maybe it might have been something with drivers trying to merge with traffic coming off of pit road. There you see Cody Hagan. I believe he had just made a pit stop, so he's trapped a lap down. I don't know if that's going to be the same for Cody Lamas. Where's Lamas? Because we know he and Hagan pitted at the same time. I think Cody may still be on the lead lap. He is. So he did not come down and pit with his teammate this time around. Whatever the case, these drivers, I'm sure, are going to be making pit stops here under this caution flag, which came out with about 9 laps remaining. And Bob Jones is not coming. Neither is Chris Dollerton, but John Cittadino's not willing to risk it. He's coming. So too is Jake Rogers, Galligan, Trollston, Shelton, Washer, and Sullivan. They're coming. Interesting strategy here. Why are Bob Jones and Chris Dollerton staying out? That is a big question. And I'm not rightly sure how to answer it. And I'll tell you, this is a big break for a number of drivers, too, that ended up losing the lead lap there. Dylan Pote was able to bunch right back up with these guys. So, too, were LJ Mills and Alex Pedro, a number of drivers. As John Cittadino is not going to come off pit road as the leader. He did come down pit road as the leader, but Washer and Tanner Sullivan with much faster pit stops. Washer, I believe, is going to come off pit road as the first of those drivers who pitted. No, actually, make it John Trollston. So the caution flag is out. I don't know what exactly for, though. I'd love to find out. So let's head back, look at a replay of what happened. Drivers utilizing a lot of pit strategy here late in the Fred Superdollar 250. And it was actually for the slower machine of Bob Fergus. Watch here, Eric Enrage gets a good run, and Fergus really doesn't give him any room. Enrage going to get into Bob Fergus, and Fergus' car going to actually go around. I can't say I blame Eric Enrage. I mean, for heaven's sakes, he literally got blocked by a driver that was not completely up to speed with that big pack of cars. And that's the price you pay if you do that. I mean, Bob Fergus, yeah, he got flat out dumped, but he didn't give any room to the faster oncoming trucks. And so Eric Enrage can't really call that a rookie mistake. He was just trying to find a place here, so he didn't wreck that 07, but 07 wasn't willing to let him on by. And that is what brought out the caution flag there with the 07 stalled on the apron of turn 2. That was enough to bring out the yellow flag, and it has changed everything up, and we're in for one crazy finish, no doubt about that. And before we go back to our restart, that wasn't the only thing that actually happened under the caution. Look right here. All these drivers who had tried getting by Bob Fergus, they got all bunched up. Cody Lamas going to get a little bit of help here into the outside wall coming out of 2. The points leader, Cody Lamas, by the way. And his car going to loop around and spin around, so that accounts for why he actually didn't come to pit road under caution, because he was kind of 50% of that caution flag. So a spin, and then drivers, or I should say another driver spinning after they avoided that one spinning truck, And it ends up being the points leader, Cody Lamas. I'll tell you, not many drivers have come in today running well in points that have actually had good runs today. The only 3 that I'm seeing that may end up coming away with really good runs here today at Talladega are Bob Jones, Dylan Poteet, and Chris Washer. But hey, we still got a ways to go. Anything can happen. Let's head back for the restart now, shall we? And you are looking at Bob Jones in the 11, who was the leader and was scheduled to lead us back to the restart, but he decided to come down and pit. So very interesting strategy here on the part of the 11. Coming down and pitting here just before we go to green. Carson Gum did the same. Chris Dollerton, however, did not come to pit road. So this may be a ultimate risk reward for Dollerton, and coming in 13th in points. Not sure if I would take this much of a risk, but he has, and he is going to be the leader heading back to the green flag. Second place is going to be Eric in Rage. Third place is going to be Mason Wood, and I believe those 3 have not come to pit road yet. Charles Jackson, I believe also the same can be said for him in 4th. Daniel Voiles in 5th. Those top 5, we're going to have to keep an eye on them. They could be in trouble. These drivers did pit, however, and they restart 6th on back. John Trolston, Chris Washer, Tanner Sullivan, John Citadino, and the pole sitter Luke Walker is now back up to 10th. Jake Rogers 11th, 12th Sean Galligan, 13th Jessica Shelton, George Roque 14th, 15th LJ Mills, Zach Hamlin 16th, Matthew Dalian 17th, 18th Caleb Farrell, Alex Pedro is in 19th, and 20th is Zach Hamlin. Then it's Dylan Poteet, Cody Lamas, Bob Jones in 23rd, and 24th Carson Gum. And somebody, I thought somebody just ran out of fuel. I thought I saw someone on the apron. May have been the pace car that I saw go into pit road, but I thought I saw somebody out of fuel. Apparently not. Green flag is out here to finish off this race. Hitting the stripe, we got a total of 5 laps to go. Oh, I hope that Chris Dollerton, these guys don't run out of fuel in front of these other people. That would not be a good situation. Gotta keep an eye on the 83, 88. Although Hagan did pit. I mean, the 83, 14, 8, and 32. Those were the drivers I meant. And the 24. Actually, I think the 24 of Daniel Voiles, he's not up here. I think he was actually the driver I saw go to pit road. I'm pretty certain he was the driver I saw actually hit the pit lane. And now these guys appear to be slowing down. I think they're out of fuel. The 14 of Eric and Rage, the 8 of Mason Wood, the 32 of Charles Jackson. They are coming to pit road. Where's Dollerton, though? Oh, Dollerton's still out there. So is he good to go on fuel or what? Whatever the case, he still leads, but now Tanner Sullivan to the bottom, and now Dollerton is out of fuel. Dollerton has got to be out of fuel. He is way off the pace, and he's about to get wrecked. He just got wrecked right up in front of Chris Washer. Poteet's collected. Hagan's involved. Cody Lamas is in it. Nick Smith has been collected in it as well. So too is Matthew Daly, and I believe that's Zach Hamlin in the 61. Caution flag is out, and now Talampas gets a piece of it. This may be the race for the win, perhaps. And I think it is. And Luke Walker, the pole sitter, is now the leader. Jessica Shelton, the outside pole sitter, into second. Mills in third. Gallagher fourth. Sullivan in fifth. This could end under caution. And Luke Walker may go coast to coast, pole to win here at Talladega. The drivers who started this race 1-2 may end up finishing this race 1-2. The front row may finish in first and second. But that was due to a driver running out of fuel, and there you see him, Chris Dollerton, still having trouble trying to get his car to the pit lane. Almost just got hit by Mason Wood. And Dollerton running out of fuel right in front of the field. That's what caused that wreck. And a number of drivers were collected in that one, as the caution flag is out. Luke Walker is the leader. Do these drivers have enough fuel to get to the end? I think they do, because I think they all pitted under that last caution flag. But Luke Walker may end up being en route to his first Truck Series win of the season. We're going to quickly look back at a replay, though, of what just happened to put us out of the caution for what I'm pretty certain is going to be the final time here today at Talladega. And you can see here heading into 1, Chris Dollerton, that fuel was definitely gone the way these drivers were bypassing him everywhere. Let's see where the initial contact comes from. Oh, I think that Chris Dollerton was trying to find a way to get to the apron, to get out of these guys' way, and Cittadino was to his low side. That was a tough break there. Hagan gets involved, though. Washer, Lamas. There you see Zach Hamlin get a piece of the 5. Nick Smith gets involved further up here as well. Matthew Daly was collected, so was Dylan Poteet, and I believe I saw the 88 get a little piece of it. And then you're going to see, I believe it's the Zach Hamlin machine is going to get a hit right here from Justin Talampas, right there, the right front of the 17, hard into the front grille of the 61 machine. And there you see the damaged race cars, and the points leader, Cody Lamas, collected in this one. As a matter of fact, 2 of our former winners this season, Poteet and Lamas, collected in this. Matthew Daly, 9th in points. This is certainly not what he needed. And Chris Washer, 8th in the standings, collected in this, along with 7th in points, Nick Smith. So I told you that those guys, they had been able to survive, but it was still early on in the race. Case in point, right there. They get collected, and what's probably going to be our final caution of the day. Let's head back now, as I believe the white flag has been displayed for Luke Walker. Well, this was certainly an unexpected finish to this Talladega race weekend, because you cannot say that Luke Walker dominated this race out in front and Jessica Shelton ran second this whole race. But, as irony would have it, in the span of 29 laps, they start first and second, and here they're going to finish in first and second place. That's one of the first times I think I've ever had something like that happen, especially at a restrictor plate track where the finishes are really so random, you can't predict them. But let's go through these drivers where they finish in the top 10. Luke Walker, this is a great run for him, his first win and 21st in points. Jessica Shelton, well-needed run for her. This will move her up inside the top 10 in points, I'm pretty certain, as she's going to finish in second place. Looks like Dollerton did get to pit road because he's coming back on track here. LJ Mills will be the highest finishing rookie today. Great run for him, 23rd in point standings. Nice to see Sean Galligan back in the top 5 too. It's been a rather struggling start to the season for him, 31st in points. And Galligan's going to get 4th today. And even with a damaged race car, Tanner Sullivan still shows off his restrictor plate racing skills, as he's going to finish in 5th place here today. Sullivan 35th in the points. Jake Rogers, man, was this a race he needed or what? 41st in points, but a solid top 10 of 6th here today. John Trolston's going to come away with a solid top 10 of 7th place. Trolston comes into this race 18th in the standings. 8th place is going to be Bob Jones. He was up front for a lot of this race. He'll get a solid top 10 run. Carson Gum, who triggered the first wreck of the day, he's going to come away with a decent run of 9th and comes in 14th in points. This could put him up inside the top 10. And George Roque, we never really talked much about the 03 today, but the Geico Toyota Tundra going to come away with a solid run of 10th place here today. Great run for the guy who comes in 27th in the standings. But the man of the hour is going to be Luke Walker, as he'll come down and take the checkered flag, his first win of the season. The former Mobil Cup Series champ is going to go to victory lane here in the Truck Series and win the Fred Super Dollar 250 powered by Coca-Cola. So what an unbelievable race, and this is definitely, without a doubt, going to be a typical Talladega, and the fact that it's going to be a point shaker, folks. I can just feel it. And I can't even really predict who the points leader is going to be. I have a suspicion it could possibly be Bob Jones, but I don't know for certain. It all depends on where Cody Lamas finished this race in relation to Bob Jones and his 8th place finish. So we'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. Here comes your official full finisher results, overall points standings, and rookie points heading into our next event. And I'm trying to remember where we're heading next. If I'm not mistaken, I think our next Truck Series venue is actually going to be at Charlotte. So hope you'll tune in for that. But we still got to finish up our race weekend here at Talladega with the running of Mobil 1 Cup Series and Snickers Cup Series action. Is fuel strategy, fuel mileage going to come into play in those races? You better believe it is. I think it's going to, because it definitely did in our 2 races here, Last of Us Light Series and Oreo Truck Series races that we have currently run. So we will see you guys next time. Be sure to stay tuned here to the NNSCRA Sports Channel as we continue on our race weekend here from Talladega Superspeedway on the NNSCRA Sports Channel, offline racing at its best. And he saved it! What are these guys doing? Oh, and Henley just got turned now. That time he got turned. Logan Wilson is flipping on his roof. Dylan Young is collected. Sosnowski's collected. Dylan Young is now flipping. Citadino's involved. Mary Cole is in it.